Hopefully, we don't have an explosion today using a pressure cooker to can instead of a pressure canner. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to a new video. How are you doing, guys? I've got a huge bushel of tomatoes. I can't even lift it. We have here over 17 kilos of tomatoes, and I want to process them for sauce to preserve them to use over the winter. Tomatoes are really important for my home. We're trying to grow and be self-sufficient. So this is like hopefully a quarter at the least of the tomatoes we will be preserving this year. So if you are interested in knowing how I preserve my tomatoes, I hear people talking about, I want to see your pantry, I want to know how you preserve all this harvest, all this produce, then this video will give you a better insight. Now I'm making smoky tomato sauce, so smoky marinara sauce. Not necessarily marinara sauce because it's not usually smoky, but this is smoky. So usually when we process tomatoes at home, we use oven trays, we roast them in our oven and we add them, but we are not using our ovens today. We are going to smoke them in my smoker outdoors. Yeah, we want to give them the authentic smoky flavor and canning them afterwards. So it is a lengthy process. Tomato processing is a lot of work, is a labor of love, but it is so worth it. This is our smoker. We're gonna pop these here. Smoke is escaping from the vents, and this is what we want. I haven't got enough space in the smoker and haven't got enough time, so I will process some normally and process some in the smoker. If you don't want to go through the whole hassle of roasting this either in the smoker like I'm doing or in your oven, you don't have to. Just do it this way, it will still be delicious. So I'm gonna blend them, not necessarily blending them smoothly, but I'm gonna blend it in such a way that I have seeds. So I have seeds are not crushed. I don't want to crush the seeds. So we're just gonna essentially pulse it. That's it. So we're just crushing it, but not making it smooth because I don't want the seeds and the skins. Now, people can blend this if you want, but the seeds and the skins contains lectin, and lectin can be inflammatory for some people, not everyone. So I'm just gonna pour it in here and we'll start separating. Some people also dehydrate the skins and the seeds. I actually did that last year for the kids, but since finding out that lectins could be inflammatory and I don't want the children having that in the future because they're having high doses of it, I've just decided not to. So I have my trusted food mill. You can use whatever you want. You can even use an electric one. I don't have one at the moment, so I'm using a normal manual food mill. And I'm just gonna scoop in here. And now let the mill separate the skins from the seeds. Like so. As you can see, you've got the skins, the juice down there, and the skins and the seeds are sitting here. This is what the food mill is looking like. Okay, so it strains from the bottom there and you get this beautiful sauce. Look at that. And I'm just gonna take it out each time. So yes, some of you would say I should dehydrate this, but no, I am not today. It's not a lot. Out of 7 liters, I've got about 700 mils. So I'm happy to carry on as I am. You see what it's looking like there. The skins are peeling easily and it is smoking. And I'm just gonna get rid of the skins and pop it into the blender to chop, just like the raw ones. And this is how you have smoky tomatoes without adding any additional stuff to it. Try this and let me know what you think. We also put some peppers in the smoker. And I also had some garlic, which I'll add here. This here is my fruit press. Now I'm only using this because I have it and it helps get rid of the excess liquid in the tomatoes rather than me boiling it down for ages and ages, okay? We have tomatoes sitting there nicely and the liquid is running out. And we have a bucket to receive it. Look at that beautiful tomato paste, free from seeds and skins. And out of 17 liters, this is what we're ending up with, less than 5 kilos. And this is the amount of liquid we got out. And we have some herbs. Now you need just basil will be fine. I've got basil, I've got here some fennel, and I've got some oregano. I've tied them in a little bunch that I would just chuck into the pan and take it out at the end. Okay, that is entirely optional. Onions. Adding salt when I'm sauteing my onions because it helps pull out the moisture from the onions quite quickly. These are the spices. We have some black pepper, fennel seeds, and oregano flowers and leaves, and a little bit of bay leaves. And next we will go ahead and add in our garlic into the onions. Give it a mix. We add our dried fennel and black pepper mainly into your blender. After about 10 minutes, just give this a good stir so nothing burns, but this is on fairly high heat. Because of the amount, we're making a big batch. Otherwise, I'll say medium heat. We'll go ahead and add our blended black pepper and the fennel. Just gonna add a little. Fennel really makes a difference in the sauce, so if you can, don't skip fennel. Add in the oregano and then our bay leaves. Now it's time for the main tomatoes. We'll put that all in. That's a lot. You reduce your heat to really low because we want to simmer, and I'm adding my beautiful bunch that I've tied, basil and fennel. This is optional, you don't have to. You see, we've reduced the amount of liquid we're starting off with to nearly half, and that will save us time and energy to cook this thing up. Our tomatoes have been cooking for about an hour. It looks so good. Now we can remove our herb bunch. So we're adding our pepper paste. Remember the roasted peppers and the garlic goes in now. This is gonna give the red creaminess we want. This is white onion powder, some basil seeds. These are the flowers of basil, fresh. You can use dry. This is because we have it in season. Give this a good stir. Taste. Oh my God, tastes so good. Add a little bit of salt. Now I am using for this video a pressure cooker, not a pressure canner. And this is my choice. This is not an advice to anyone at all. I don't have pressure canners available to me here. They are quite expensive if I have to order it in. And I want a massive pressure cooker. So this is 25 liters. This is huge. If you have access to a pressure canner, please get one. This is living dangerously, okay guys? This is me living dangerously. This is what I can get access to, and this is me making the most of what I have. So my jars have been washed clean. They don't have to be sterilized. So I'm gonna go ahead and add freshly washed basil into each jar. Now the recommended way of canning, like tomatoes, I usually would use just a pot, like any pot, and water bath it. So you don't need pressure to do tomato because it's fairly high acid. But I want to try using pressure because it will cut the time, and I'm using bigger jars. So I'm using like a liter jars. These are quartz jars, the Americans call it. And the problem with using this in water bath is you might not have enough heat penetrating into the sauce. So that's why I'm doing this. I'm not giving instructions. This video is not an instruction, it's just sharing what I do in my journey about preserving tomatoes. Now I've used a pressure cooker since I was a child, so I'm very comfortable using pressure cookers. I've never used a big one, like 25 liters is a lot. But yeah, we'll see how it goes, and hopefully there's no explosion. Get enough headroom so that you don't have your sauce boiling over and causing an explosion in the jars. So leave sufficient headroom for that to happen. Ensure you give all your rims a good clean, because you don't want any food on the rims. Okay, so good headroom, that's one thing I would recommend if you have to can your tomatoes for beginners, and also cleaning the rims. I'm reusing the jars and the lids and everything because they're okay. I ensure there's no rusts underneath the rims for me to reuse them. Okay, so I am going to shut the pot without the pressure weight, just like you would do if you were pressure canning. I haven't got the weight on. This is the weight. That's what the weight looks like. This weight will go in when I have had steam rising from the top for 10 minutes. Once your pressure pot begins to steam, I am going to add the weight. The pressure's building up. I am also using a water bath to do some of the other tomatoes. So this is extra. I'm just using a normal pot in a water bath, and that is what I have always done with tomatoes. So there's no like, this is what I do. This is my first time trying this pressure cooker because I want to preserve bigger jars. Otherwise, this pot has always done it for me. So this is using just the water bath method in a pot, leaving this for about an hour, and I have perfect preserved tomato sauce. But this will be done for about an hour or 45 minutes because it's using pressure, and hopefully turn it off and let the steam go down. Okay?
2,000 years later.
Guys, I appreciate this video has been going on for a while. I'll try and compact it, make it as short or as precise as possible. But this is the first time I have seen anyone document using a pressure cooker to can. And listen, I don't like living dangerously. I like doing things simple. But I can't afford £500 at the moment to buy a pressure. I can't even justify it, buy a pressure canner, because it's going to save me freezer space, preserving a lot of my produce. Like you see, I harvest a lot. So I need to find ways that work for me. This pressure canner, 25 liters, costs me about less than £100 in the UK. So if it will work, now, like I said, pressure cooker, I have used them since I was a child. This is a steady whistle that you can hear. That is steady. It's not going crazy. It's not going to dehydrate or dry the pan. I think that's one of the biggest problems when you don't put sufficient liquid in here. I have enough liquid in here to last a couple of hours or more, and I am just cooking it in pressure for about an hour. So if you are not comfortable using it, please don't take this as any advice. Get the right equipment, okay? But this is for me, someone that I'm comfortable cooking in a pressure cooker anyways, but this is the first time putting glass in a pressure cooker. Anyway, and if you're not comfortable doing that, feel free to use the normal. This is a normal one. Just cooking that as a normal, water bath method. And that is perfectly safe for tomatoes. I have been doing my tomatoes that way for years, but I want to be able to can sweet corn, I want to can beans, I want to can pumpkins, and I want to do it. The Amish in America have used, the water bath method to can sweet corn, green beans, and, pumpkins, potatoes for years. But I wanted to try doing it quicker, reducing my time, energy consumption, and also time spent in the kitchen. So anyway, we'll soon get to the end where I'll turn it off, and I'm gonna let this thing cool at normal temperature. I'm not gonna quickly reduce the pressure, no, because that will cause explosions. I'm gonna just turn it off and let it sit for a couple of hours before I open the pan, okay? So that is so important. When you put glass in a pressure, even without glass, don't let the pressure drop so rapidly. That will cause more problems. Just let it drop naturally, and then you can get your glass jars out or whatever you're cooking in a pressure cooker. I have seen people that have had explosions from a pressure cooker, so I am giving this disclaimer to make sure no one says I told you. Listen, I didn't tell you to use a pressure cooker to can. I am doing it because I feel I can do it and it's a trial. If it doesn't work, fine. But if it does work, pressure cooker, pressure canner are the same thing. The major difference is the indicator, the pressure indicator, which this one doesn't have. But I'm going to use my sense and also be closely monitoring it until I'm very comfortable, confident using it on its own. It's been a long slog, but we're finally at the end. So the pressure pot, as you can hear, is still whistling, and I'm gonna give it time to do that. I have turned the cooker off over an hour ago, so that's how long it takes to reduce or release the pressure to normal pressure. Ideally, I don't want to leave it in the pot overnight, but if it takes another half hour and it hasn't, the pin there hasn't come down, then I'm just gonna leave it. There's no rush to take that down. And then the ones we have in the pot using the water bath method, it's stuck. It's ready. Guys, is it worth me doing this when I can buy a jar of tomato sauce? I can buy a jar of conventional tomato sauce for, let's say, £2 at the most, like the good quality ones, or £1, yeah. And then me spending hours and hours doing this, it is worth it for me because these are my own homegrown organic, like nothing will beat it, and it is worth me making sure. Oh, it's beginning to pop. It is absolutely worth my time. I'm going to give the jars a good wipe. It is hot. It's best to let this cool down first, but it's really late and I want to go to sleep, and I want to put some of it out before I do that. And I just want to wake up to a beautiful, clean jars, because you have limescale buildup on the outside of the jars. That's just why I'm cleaning it. All right, guys, we've come to the end of this video. Have you enjoyed this video? Have you learned something? Are you thinking I'm living too dangerously? Let me know in the comments how dangerous this is, using a pressure cooker to can my tomato sauce. And yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, you've seen how I put away most of my tomatoes. I have other methods. I make the Nigerian stew. I also can that. So like our Nigerian jollof stew. If you want to know how I do that, let me know in the comments, and hopefully I will make that video when next I process a bigger batch of tomato sauce, and that should last us a good while. Anyway, I'll let this keep whistling till it's completely ready to open the pot before I touch it. And yeah, leave your tips and your tricks. If you've ever used a pressure cooker to can or put away food, let me know. Apart from like cooking pulses, which I use, I have a smaller pressure cooker which I use, about 10-litre one, and I'm happy with that. But this is the first time using this one, hence a bit nervous. But I'm really glad I did it, because if I don't do it, how would I know it works? And how would I save money? Like at this time, I'd rather do that than waste my produce, and I want to preserve as much produce as I can. Because I have worked so hard growing them, I want to ensure they are safe for me to use throughout the winter. And guys, you just like the thought of opening a jar of tomato in the depth of winter. That's it. That one has gone in the depth of winter is just so rewarding. Like, you can't put a price to it. And the smell of summer when it's cold and dark and dreary out there is amazing. Anyway, thank you once again. Have you enjoyed the video? Have you given us a thumbs up? And if you haven't yet, subscribe. I really appreciate you coming back again. And thank you. And until next time, I'll see you in another video. Let me know what other video you'd like to see me preserving my produce. I'll share with you if I can. Okay? Bye. Mwah. Guys, I had to get hubby to help me open it because yeah, the pressure's gone and it's opened nice and easy. Ooh la la. Did one, oh Lord, look at this. One of them popped away. The lid completely went off. Can you see the lid there? Unbelievable. Like the whole thing just, the lid, and it's a big one as well. And let's see the level of water, because that was my concern. How much water I let in there. Hang on. Oh, there's still plenty water. And this sauce, it didn't even spill. I'm so happy about that. I'm so excited. It worked. So even with that one popping, there was no explosion. And that is so reassuring. Is that it? That's popped already.
So there's water under this one. Now the water is.
Yeah, there's a lot of water, so my water level is safe. But the discoloration in there is weird, isn't it? I don't know, it's aluminum. But it's just discolored really bad. I don't like that color. Because that means I can't cook. It has to just be for canning.
Which?
Put it in here. There is a huge discoloration here. I don't like that. That is really bad. Probably the pressure, but the discoloration is just looking weird. I'm not planning on using the pot to actually cook. Look, this is boiling. Let me show you guys. Can you see this? It's literally boiling. Is that visible? It's boiling. So it tells me that the temperature went really high, and that is so good. The fact that the temperature went high enough to boil is so reassuring. It's really hot. Ideally, wait a bit, but I'm just maybe a bit impatient. But I also want to just get this done with so that I can wake up tomorrow and I have about over 10 liters of sauce. And this is really thick, really, really thick. It's not just your basic homemade tomato sauce. It's really good. So anyone that has no good seal like this one, I would keep it aside, store it in the fridge. That one's leaked, and use that up first. Guys, can you see the bubble in the jar? This is what I would not be getting when I water bath. I won't have this heat, extreme heat, to the point where the jar is still cooking. Look at these jars are cooking. And I believe that's one of the reasons pressure canning is safer. Obviously, this is no research or evidence. This is pressure cooking in cans. That's what I've just done. But I'm happy I was able to do it.